Hello everyone, and welcome back for another video on thermodynamics. In today's video, we're going to build on the last video which talked about material and energy balances by now talking about how we can simplify our energy balances for specific unit operations. In particular, for today's video, we'll talk about how we can simplify an energy balance for valves, nozzles, pumps, compressors, and turbines, as well as heat exchangers. So let's get into it. So in the previous video, we were able to simplify our general energy balance equation to the following. The change in enthalpy is the change in enthalpy plus the change in kinetic energy plus the change in potential energy equals my heat plus work. And from here, depending on the unit you still have the ability to further simplify your energy balance. So when you're working on different problems that have these different unit operations, you don't have to start at this general energy balance. You can actually start at an even more simplified version. So let's get into it. The first unit we have is a valve. And a valve is used to control the flow rate and pressure of a stream. So you have a fluid flowing into your valve, and that valve can be either opened or closed to control the fluid flow. So that may be increasing the fluid flow or restricting the fluid flow. So in this case, if we have our energy balance, we want to simplify it down. We've got the general energy balance, and we can now start to pick off different pieces of that energy balance and identify whether or not we really need it. So in this case, because you have a valve, it's just a stationary item, there's no moving parts in it, we get to assume that work is equal to 0, and we get to cancel it out. Additionally, because a valve is controlling your fluid flow, it's not doing anything in particular with heat transfer. So we're going to assume that it's adiabatic, and that means that we can now cancel out our heat term. Additionally, with my valve, we can also assume that the changes in kinetic and potential energy are negligible, and therefore my delta EK and delta EP also go to 0. And that leaves me with the change in enthalpy equals 0. Now, if you wanted to, you actually can further break down this equation and be a little bit more explicit with my change in enthalpy equation. So we can take that delta H equals 0, we can break it down into the change in my outlet enthalpy minus inlet enthalpy. Now, the other thing that we want to take note of is that because your fluid, you only have one stream coming into your valve and one stream coming out, that means that my M out equals M in. So that simplifies to, if you want to, you can write just like an M dot because it's the same for both inlet and outlet. But in this situation, we actually can then just remove that mass flow rate term and move it over to the 0 side, canceling it out, leaving us with that H out, the specific enthalpy out minus specific enthalpy in equals 0. And therefore, H in equals H out with specific enthalpy. The next unit we have is a nozzle. And with a nozzle, what's going to happen is that it's designed to accelerate a fluid. So it's taking a fluid coming in, it's got a large orifice, and from here, it's got a narrowing section. And what's going to happen here in that narrowing section is it's going to increase the velocity of your fluid. So it's converting the fluid's internal energy into kinetic energy. And so if we look at our energy balance for a nozzle, we again can identify that there's no moving parts, so my work is equal to 0. We also can assume that there's no heat transfer. It's an adiabatic system, so my Q term is equal to 0. Additionally, we can assume that my change in potential energy is negligible, so delta EP equals 0. This is one of the times where we cannot assume change in kinetic energy is 0 because we are intentionally transferring internal energy into kinetic energy. And this is one of the situations where we probably are going to have some energy contributions from kinetic energy. So this now leaves my general energy balance equation as delta H plus delta EK equals 0. But we can still break this down a little bit further. So we've got the change in enthalpy broken down. So my outlet enthalpy minus inlet enthalpy plus the outlet kinetic energy minus inlet kinetic energy. Now, as a reminder, just like with the valve, you know that your inlet and outlet mass flow rates have to be the same. because there's only one stream going in and out. And that then allows me to isolate out all the mass flow rates, and I can cancel them out because I can divide them over to the zero side. Additionally, what I can do with my nozzle is we can also assume that the inlet velocity is negligible. So my Vn equals 0, and that gets rid of my inlet kinetic energy term. And now, if we simplify everything down, that leaves me with that my outlet velocity squared over 2 is equal to my specific enthalpy in minus my specific enthalpy out. So, new simplification, pretty exciting. Now moving on, we've got a three unit system we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about pumps, compressors, and turbines. And the reason why is because these unit operations may be a little bit different, but in terms of the energy balance, it's going to simplify down to the same thing. So a pump is something that's going to compress a liquid and move a liquid from one place to another. Similarly, we've got a compressor, which is going to do the same exact thing, except now it's going to do it for gases. And usually for a compressor, it's also going to heavily increase that pressure. And finally, you have a turbine. Now, a turbine is going to convert internal energy into work, and by doing so, it's going to end up reducing the pressure of your fluid. Now, whichever way you cut it, you see that you've got fluid flowing in, fluid flowing out, and there is some change in pressure of your fluid. So that means that you probably are going to have some moving mechanical parts that are facilitating this movement of your fluid throughout the system. Or in the case of a turbine, you're gaining energy from the turbine. So now let's jump into my general energy balance and see how we can simplify it down. Now, as a reminder, I said that you're going to have moving parts, so that work term cannot be assumed to be 0. However, we could assume that we have an adiabatic system. So my heat is going to equal 0. The next thing we can assume is that my kinetic and potential energy changes are negligible. So we get to eliminate both of those. And then now it's going to lead me to the change in enthalpy is going to equal my work, whether that's work coming in or work coming out. And just like we've done before, we're going to take this equation and we're going to further simplify it down. So with my change in enthalpy, we have a outlet and inlet enthalpy term. We also know that with my mass flow rates, mass coming in is going to equal mass coming out because I only have one inlet and one outlet for each of these different unit operations. And because of that, we can write this as an m dot, and we can divide m dot out to the other side with work. And that's going to leave me with that shaft work over m dot is equal to my outlet specific enthalpy minus my inlet specific enthalpy. Now I also just want to make a note. I didn't acknowledge that my subscript for work is shaft work. And the reason why is because you have these fixed materials where you have moving parts, moving mechanical parts, so you've got shafts. We don't have anything that's going to be expanding or compressing, which is why in this case your work is shaft work and not also going to be work due to expansion or compression. Okay, and the final unit operation we have are heat exchangers. And so a heat exchanger is going to be a unit that's going to add or remove heat from streams. So in this diagram I have here, what's happening is that I've got a hot stream and a cold stream. They're flowing in a counter current direction. And what's happening is that the hot fluid is releasing some heat that's going to be absorbed by the cold stream. And a heat exchanger can be used either to heat something up or cool something down. Kind of depends on whatever process you're using. A lot of the times, and when you get to your unit operations design class in your senior year, you'll often think about how you can optimize your system so that you can do something that you can do some heating and cooling simultaneously to minimize your energy demands. Now, sometimes if you are designing a unit operation, let's say heat exchanger, you may know one of your streams coming in, you may know the temperature it is and what temperature you want for it coming out, but you don't know how much of the other fluid you need in order to either add heat or remove heat. And in those situations, what's going to happen is you're going to have a single stream heat exchanger. And so here in these two situations, we're going to simplify my energy balance. I just want to make a note that the simplification is not going to be exactly the same between the two. So we're going to focus first on the heat exchanger and then talk about the single stream heat exchanger. So with that so for a regular heat exchanger where we have a hot and cold fluid, we've got our general energy balance. And in this situation, you guessed it, we have no moving parts, so work is equal to 0. We also can assume that this is going to be an adiabatic system. And I know what you're thinking, but heat is moving around, it's being transferred. And you're right, but the heat is being transferred between my hot and cold stream. We can assume that we've got a well-insulated heat exchanger, so nothing is leaving the heat exchanger, it's just moving between the hot stream to the cold stream. The next thing we can do is we can assume that, again, I have negligible kinetic and potential energy changes. So those two terms go to 0, and that leaves me with my change in enthalpy is equal to 0. And just like we've done before, we're going to further simplify this down. So we've got change in enthalpy equals 0, and we can now break it down into the change in enthalpy for my one stream and the change in enthalpy for my second stream. And now you've got your change in enthalpy where you've got your outlet minus inlet term for both streams 1 and 2 are going to equal 0. Now you can slightly further modify and adjust this just by acknowledging that your mass flow rate in equals mass flow rate out. So mass flow rate for stream 1 is going to equal mass flow rate of stream 1 going in equals mass flow rate of stream 1 going out. And same deal for stream 2. But that does not mean that M1 dot equals M2 dot. It just means the inlet and outlet for a specific stream is equal to each other. And so in that case, you can pull out your M1 dot and M2 dot and end up with this simplified equation. So now we can talk about the single stream heat exchanger. And in this case, you guessed it, we have no moving parts, so work is equal to 0. And now we cannot assume that we are adiabatic. We're going to keep our heat because we need a heat source that's either going to be adding or removing heat. Remember, this is often used when we are designing a system and we're still figuring out everything about my heat exchanger in terms of how much of a second fluid I want in order to either add or remove heat. We can also assume kinetic and potential energy are equal to 0 or are negligible, therefore they do equal 0. And now for a single stream heat exchanger, that leaves me with delta H equals Q. Moving forward with my delta H equals Q, we can break down my change in enthalpy into my outlet enthalpy minus inlet enthalpy equals Q dot. As a reminder, because you have one fluid coming in and out, the mass flow rate out equals mass flow rate in. So we're going to write that as M dot. And from here, we can move that M dot to the Q side, and we have Q dot over M dot equals the outlet specific enthalpy minus inlet specific enthalpy. And so as you see, these simplifications aren't too bad, and they now make your life a little bit easier when you start approaching energy balance problems, because now you have a playbook of energy balances you can start off with. And so to recap, we talked about how we can simplify our general energy balance for a valve, a nozzle, compressors, pumps, turbines, a regular heat exchanger, and a single stream heat exchanger. So that's everything for this video. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.